I wanted to do this slideshow presentation to show the comparison between the lethal Aborigines Protection Act in Western Australia from 1905. I think this ran right up until 1964. It's quite a lethal legislation, but I just wanted to highlight how in the Constitution, whether it be state or Commonwealth, that titles that are used that sound good, like Aborigines Protection Act. It sounds like a good thing, but in actual fact, it's quite a lethal. It's quite lethal when it comes into action, as a lot of people have known. And the Aborigines Protection Act was a very legislation that was used to remove the stolen generation. So the Aborigines Protection Act 1905 was an act to make a provision for the better protection and care of Aboriginal inhabitants of Western Australia. And at the bottom you can see this act may be cited as the Aborigines Protection Act and shall come into operation on a day to be fixed by a proclamation. So it was a proclamation that brought that law into place. And what I wanted to sort of make a comparison with the coming referendum, where the government is proposing to make laws for our people. Instead of a proclamation to get the laws to come at our people, they are going to be using a referendum to make that happen. Now, where this gets concerning, this is why I'm doing a comparison between the Protection Act and the coming referendum, is they used to recognise, they had to bring the Aboriginal people into recognisance, and they were recognising them prior to their removal. So any person who, without the authority in writing of a chief protector, removes or causes to be removed any Aboriginal male half-caste under the age of 16 or a female half-caste from one district to another or to any place beyond the state shall be guilty of an offence against this act. And so before they could take Aboriginal people into slavery, which basically placing them into homes or into reserves and missions was a slavery act because they had them working as slaves as well. They were placed into a recognisance before they could actually remove them, and so the boss for them Aboriginal people were like the mission managers and the reserve managers and so forth, the missionaries, or even private people who took Aboriginal people on. They were the ones that entered into the recognisance before their removal. Every such recognisance shall be in the prescribed form and shall be taken in duplicate by a protector or police officer, who shall forthwith forward one of the duplicates to the chief protector. A recognisance may be renewed from time to time at the discretion of the chief protector, and the protector also, at his discretion, could dispense with such recognisance in any such particular case. Now, the reason why I find this concerning, I mean, that's pretty disgusting that could happen way back in 1905 right up to 64. But what I find quite alarming is that in 2016, the proposals made by Recognise will give the government the power to make laws, but the recognisance is forever, and it's not the powers to make the laws again. Like will show, it's not through a proclamation but through a referendum to make it permanent. And these recognised laws, recognise means to enter into recognisance. They won't be renewed from time to time, for they will be a permanent fixture. This will be permanent, binding in the Constitution forever, not to be renewed. The government powers will be more lethal than the powers in 1905 because it's going to be permanent. So in other words, we're heading backwards prior to 1905. We're asking that anybody who will be voting for the referendum, the majority of people voting won't be our people. We're only 3% of the population in Australia. Our votes won't make a difference. The majority of us don't give consent to this referendum, but the government is proceeding on anyways. So for our protection, real protection, not like the Aborigines Protection Act, but our actual human rights protection, we asking that everybody votes no in the coming referendum. Thank you.